We're here.
Hello and welcome to another edition of 5-Star Broadcast. I'm Andy Peck.
And I'm Angelo Parenti.
And this week we're going to talk about something a little different. We're not going to focus on Raw and SmackDown. We're going to focus on some of the other shows that have been happening on the WWE Network. The first one that we're going to discuss is some of the matches that have been taking place on Main Event. And this week we saw a WWE Divas match against Nattie and AJ. And I thought it was a really solid match.
Yeah, good match. I heard it was one of the longest ones, maybe in a while, if not maybe Divas history is like...
Yeah, it was a long match. I know I was watching it and I was like, there were so many like near falls and near finishes and stuff. Nattie had AJ in the sharpshooter and I thought the match was over. I was like, oh shit, we're going to see the title change on Main Event, making a big show. But AJ ended up pulling off the win. But it was a good back and forth match between those two.
Yeah, it seems that they're really trying to get that show, they put 2 title matches on it this week. They had Daniel Bryan on the week before.
Yeah, against Kane.
So, hopefully for us, I think it's more wrestling the better. There's going to be as much as they want with the network, but shows like that and putting matches on it that can mean something. I mean, if there's a title change, it's going to mean something. And like we were mentioning with the titles, we had a title match, Mark Henry and Dean Ambrose.
Yeah, and I like this match from the get-go because it was kind of cool how they brought both guys out to the ring and then did the introductions. It made it more of like a big match title feel by having both men stand in the corner and then introducing them, saying it's for the United States title and everything. It gives it that big match feel, and it makes Main Event like a more important show. I mean, it's almost like how Sunday Night Heat was back in the day, but almost feels like more important than that, because there's, these big title matches and 2 of them on one show. So I thought that was cool. And the match itself between Dean Ambrose and Mark Henry was nice. It was a good match. And then at the end we kind of see, I know you mentioned, it almost looks like they're going to hold off on the Shield split because we have Roman Reigns kind of helping out and distracting Mark Henry from hitting his splash off the ropes.
Yeah, it seems like just when we thought they were falling apart, they're getting closer together, and doesn't seem like the breakup's going to happen. I mean, you can never know. You never know.
That might just be a swerve. They might be, throwing us a swerve. They're like, everybody knows they're going to break up. Let's make them seem like they're coming back together and then split them.
Seth Rollins left the match on Raw, and was that 1 or 2 weeks ago?
I think 2 weeks ago.
But I mean, he's been kind of holding them together and he's been great on the mic. I think he's like coming out because he knows like if the Shield does split, like he has to make a name for himself. And I mean, I love watching them all. I don't even want them to break up, but if it's gonna happen, I'm gonna have to deal with it.
Yeah, and as a side note, Mark Henry announced at the show, I believe last night, or one of the most recent house shows, that he's not retiring, as rumors were coming out that, this might be his last year. He said he's got a lot left in the tank and he's not retiring anytime soon.
Yeah, I read that a while ago about how he was going to retire, but he wanted to help younger guys out backstage and maybe at the Performance Center or whatever. But I actually thought it was cool that he did say that, because he's not going to be one of those old dudes who just hangs around. But I guess he could put over dudes and stuff like that. Yeah,
even with the stuff he's doing with Dean Ambrose, I mean, he's helping elevate Dean Ambrose. I mean, Mark Henry's still a big guy, and in a lot of people's eyes, he could, beat Dean Ambrose, So Dean Ambrose getting a win over him is definitely a big thing for him.
But, another show on the network that's, a weekly thing now is, it's been a weekly thing, but for people who didn't have Hulu or whatever, NXT, and it's been great to watch. A lot of great matches. Yeah, there's a ton of great matches that are happening on NXT. If you haven't been watching it, definitely check that out if you have the network or Hulu Plus, as Ange mentioned. But yeah, there's a ton of new guys and new stars for people, and even
older guys that are getting, rehashed. Mason Ryan's down there. He's getting, reworked, and maybe he'll be brought up at some point.
I actually just watched his match from this week a little earlier. I mean, he has a great look. He looks like a big dude, but I don't know. The way he moves around the ring, it's kind of like, I don't know, maybe...
Batista?
Yeah, maybe it's like he's this big guy, so he can't be in the ring with smaller guys or whatever. Like,
yeah, or he needs a more experienced, smaller guy, like somebody like Rey Mysterio, or even if we're going with NXT, I think him and Sami Zayn could have a good match. Somebody that's more experienced with wrestling bigger dudes.
Yeah, he definitely needs some work though, because he was like, smiling and like they were like wrestling on the ground as if they were trying to figure out what they were supposed to be doing. But I mean, that's what NXT is for, I guess. So yeah, but he definitely has the look, and I think I remember I kept reading too, like when the Shield looks like they were gonna break up tomorrow. They were like, he's gonna be the next member of the Shield.
Yeah, I don't know if I like that. I don't see him really fitting in with the Shield. Like the Shield, you have like Roman Reigns. He's a big guy, but he could still move around. He does that drop kick on the side. He does the Superman punch. I can't see Mason Ryan like fitting in with that. Like he doesn't have that kind of like you said, he can't move around that much.
Yeah, that's the thing though. Like, watching NXT, like these wrestlers don't go always. Their gimmick or whatever from NXT isn't always the same when they come up to Raw and stuff. I mean, the Shield was the Shield, but wasn't like Seth Rollins in like tights or whatever.
Yeah, they were all by themselves, and then when they came on Raw, they were the Shield, and then they went back to NXT as the Shield. So yeah, sometimes, and even with like Big E, he was a face, and then he came up to the main roster, and he was with Dolph Ziggler as a heel, and then turned face.
Yeah, so like you never know what can happen, what the transition from NXT to the roster is going to be like.
I do like that they've kept Emma kind of the same. She has that kind of goofy, bubbly personality, and I think it works for her. And right now, it kind of seems like she's going to be with Paige, as they were talking about them being friends and everything after that match. I'm not sure if that's completely serious, but right now it seems like they're going to be going against the BFFs in Sasha Banks, Charlotte, and Summer Rae.
Yeah, I watched the match with Paige versus Sasha Banks, and it wasn't bad. Like, I really like those Divas matches. They like move a lot faster.
Yeah.
The Divas on Raw or whatever, like they just hit so soft, some of them, and move so slow.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that has to do with the trainer for NXT. They did a big write-up on her on the WWE Network a few weeks ago. It's actually Sarah Del Rey, who was, she was big in the indie scene for a while. She was big in Ring of Honor, Chikara, all those independent promotions, and she was big she wrestled in Japan and stuff. So she knows what she's doing in the ring. I was kind of surprised that they brought her in to train people and not actually wrestle. But as you can see, like the NXT, the Divas work rate on there is way better than the Raw. And I mean, she's working with those girls too, but I think she has more time to work with the NXT girls because they're not traveling as much as the Raw girls are.
I started following Paige on Twitter, and I think she called out AJ Lee.
Oh, really?
So maybe we'll see something there.
That'd be nice. But maybe we could get AJ Lee down on NXT one week and have some sort of match between the two champions. I think that'd be cool. I think they'd put on a good match together. They both have cool submission holds as their finishing moves too. But
moving on, I didn't get to see the end. Did something happen with Sami Zayn and Corey Graves? I know they did the last week. They had a match.
Yeah, they had. What happened with the previous week was Yoshitatsu was going to have a match against Corey Graves. And poor Yoshi, I didn't even know he was still employed, to be honest.
How terrible is his entrance music? They do that to all the Japanese wrestlers.
Yeah, he's so... I feel bad for him, because, I mean, the guy's a good worker and everything, but I don't know, but he got counted out against Corey Graves. Corey Graves basically said, he has no challenge or whatever, and then Sami Zayn comes out, and they end up having a match, and Sami gets the win there, that's fine with me. I think he kind of needed the win to come back off of losing against Cesaro, even though it was a hard-fought match.
Yeah.
But he needed another win. He couldn't go out and lose again to Corey Graves. And plus, he just pulled away with the win. Corey Graves had him up for a move, and then he rolled him up into a small package and got the win there. So I think both of them came out looking stronger from that.
Yeah, and then on this week's NXT, I just saw they showed a backstage clip of Sami Zayn saying he's if Corey Graves has anything else to say about him or if he has a problem with him, but other than that, he's like, this is done between them. But I didn't see
something, I'm sure. Corey Graves will probably attack him or something. But I did miss the end of NXT.
That's what I was asking. I wasn't sure if anything else happened, but I guess we could check that out.
Yeah. In the meantime, though, we were just watching. Angela didn't see the segment for Adam Rose, so I just showed him Adam Rose, and awesome, right?
Yeah, I mean, another dance act in wrestling, but we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, I like him. I think I said to Angie, he reminds me of that Russell Brand guy. Kind of has that kind of character where he's like, I can't tell if he's heel or face yet. I mean, the fans are into him. You know?
The fans love him. And I mean, I could see them. They're singing with the song like Fandango, so maybe that's what they're going for.
Maybe they'll bring up Adam Rose and have those two, square off or whatever.
It doesn't look like there was anything else between Sami Zayn and Corey.
No, I'm looking here. It ended with Bo Dallas, so it doesn't look like there was anything there. I had to tune out. So yeah, there's nothing major between those two there. That's one of the only things I dislike about NXT is, it's a 1 hour show and they tape them all in one shot. So it's like, you're not going to see guys have matches week after week. There's probably going to be a week in between when they have matches. So that's one of the bad things that I don't really care for on the show is the formatting of it. But, I mean, it is what it is. You get the exposure to the talent and everything.
I must say though, I don't see him wrestle much, but I'm not a Rusev hater. I'm interested. I love when his music comes on. It reminds me of he's like a character from Street Fighter.
Yeah. So. And then he's got that mini feud going on with Xavier Woods right now, which I like. Build up both of those guys. But yeah, he definitely. Who was that fat Samoan Street Fighter guy? Because he kind of reminds me. You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, but his music, the whole says something, and he has an echo on it, and it's just the music comes in, and the whole Lana or whatever, she does a good job, I think. But we have some time left. Should we share some of our favorite Stone Cold moments?
Yeah, we're filming this. It's 3/16. It's March 16th today, and I have a Stone Cold Steve Austin 3/16 shirt on, and we're going to talk a little bit about Stone Cold since we have a few minutes. What's your favorite Stone Cold moment if you could pick one?
This always happens, and I can never pick one. I'm just I'm like a big fan. I was around. That was the time when wrestling was hot and huge, but I'm still a big fan, and different subject, but still on Stone Cold. I listen to his podcast every week, and it's cool because you see this other side of him, but it's still Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, it's just you see all these things that remind you how many times you see them showing Austin stunning Vince and stuff like that. But that whole feud between him and Vince, I think is. Isn't that one of the things that made them win the Monday Night Wars? Yeah,
definitely. I mean, Austin himself kind of helped them carry through all that. I mean, you had Shawn Michaels was basically out with a back injury for a lot of that, and, Bret Hart was on his way out and had left, and they were really hurting, and Austin kind of came along, and, with the help of some of a stronger undercard with guys like The Rock and Triple H and Undertaker, they made their way through and ended up defeating WCW and putting them out of business, so to speak.
But we probably have like 30 seconds. What's your moment?
Jesus. Either Austin riding in on the Zamboni or Austin pouring the cement into Vince's Corvette and having the windows bust out. That was a cool scene too.
Or there's Austin shooting him with the beer truck.
Yeah.
Austin hitting up Vince in the hospital. Like there was so many.
The gun to his head where Vince pisses himself. And then also the Brian Pillman segment where he shows up at Pillman's house and Pillman pulls a gun on him. Ton of Stone Cold moments.
Enjoy your Austin 316 day.
Yeah.
And we're out of time. We're out of here.
See ya.